Hi, everybody. We are in week 4, and our discussion this week is going to be over victim rights. We are also over the hump. We are into the final stretches. So I would suggest you start looking forward to the next 2 weeks because the last final week, your papers have to be in on time. And there's not much time after that for me to get my grades in. So week 4, our discussion is victim rights. And we're going to be discussing the history and significance of 42 USC section 1983. This section, first to understand it, you need to look at the outline of it and exactly what it is. And I'm going to be sending this to you. When I was first a police officer, I would go to court and there were so many words I didn't understand. I didn't understand voir dire. There were so many things that lawyers would get up there and speak and be like, what did they say? It's like going to the doctor and they use those terms that are just way above my head. So I would start writing them down and I would go home and I'd start looking them up to see what were they talking about, exactly what were they talking about. In this statute, you need to look at what does it mean? Like what does the word shall, what does the word may mean? What does under color of any statute mean? I'm going to be sending you this, and I'm going to be sending you this as well, deprivation of rights. And this one here says, under the color of law, acts include not only done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of officials' lawful authority. If the acts are done while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her duties. This is really important to know. And then when you look at the offense, when you look at what can happen, that's pretty significant. It's punishable. Not only can you be sued, but you can go to jail for violating these acts. And a lot of these acts, this act in particular, is held in the federal court. And so when you get those subpoenas to appear before those courts, or you get charged in those courts, it's really important to know. In the federal court, in the state courts, their evidence is much different. The federal court has a little more leeway in getting evidence in versus the state court. So very often you'll see things go to the state court or the federal court because of this. But it's important to know what color of law means. So I will send this to you so you have that. The next thing we have is we're going to have our topic, which is our Violence Against Women Act. If you don't know what the Violence Against Women Act is, then I suggest that you do that. You go back and you look at that because this is one of the most important acts that ever happened. And when you look at that, you're going to select a section of it and explore this section in detail, providing and citing of examples of how this section came to be part of the act that was eventually signed into law. And then while you're doing that, you can look at that and say, and this is where I think we should be doing this. Maybe we need to put more money into it. When this first section came out, when the Violence Against Women Act came out, there was a lot of money that came with it. I would suggest you start looking at seeing how much money is going with it now and where that money is. But I want you to take a section of it and explore it and say, how did this come about? Every law that we have is there for a reason. Every law that was written was because something happened to get it to there. So looking at this, say to yourself, how did this get where it is? If you have any questions, if you have any worries, if you just can't figure it out, give me a call. I'm glad to work with you. You can send me an email, you can send me a text, and we'll figure it out. There's a lot of things in here that you should be able to pick out and say, wow, that's where it came from. But if not, we'll help you. All right, I'm going to be sending you also some sources that you might like, that you may not like. I'm hoping that you do, but if you don't, let me know. Let me know what works for you and what doesn't. Send me an email if something worked and if something didn't work. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.